right, good morning. Welcome to the second installment of our series of getting started with Kubernetes. Moving on to deploying our container that we created in our last episode directly into our Kubernetes. And the way that we do that, we create our namespace and we would create a deployment that references our image and getting all that stuff in place so we can actually see our app running in a Kubernetes instance. What this will afford us is it will actually see the two instances of our app, and we can then move on to creating a service and getting exposed so we can actually navigate to our app. And then after that, we'll move on to our next step of our series, getting Kubernetes Starter, Ingress and Probes and Autoscaling. So let's see here. This will be step or chapter 3 in the documentation. And if you're curious about actually creating the container and getting set up and follow along, you can do so by visiting the repository here and going through the documentation, the overview, the prereqs, and then in our last episode, we covered the overview, prereqs, and then the app container and getting that all going and set up via Docker. And putting the image inside of Minikube. Okay, so let's go back and let's get started. First of all, let's make sure Minikube is going. Oh man, it's always so much slower when you have streaming stuff going. Okay, one other thing I need to do, I know I have some containers running, so let me shut those guys off. I knew I had something running. I always have something running. At the end of the day, I like to take it and turn it off, but sometimes I forget. I just kind of leave it. So that'll help us out just a touch. All right. And so now everything should be moving along, although I would recommend setting up that alias whenever you're doing any of this type of work, so that we're not sitting here typing Minikube, cube control every single time. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we can type cube cuddle. I said cube control. I was like, I want to say cube control. I get it. There's no R. There's no R. I get it. So yep, we're good there. And our image should already be in here. Let's see here. I think it's Minikube. Oh, image. List. And there it is, our Hello app 1.1. Note, ours is 1.1 because I did make a minor change in our last episode. And being good stewards of versioning, we bumped our version. But yours would probably 1.0 because it would have made that fix inside of the system. So either way, here we go. Let's create a new namespace so that we are all self-contained and all that good stuff. Now, of course, we have the manifest here, and we'll get to that in just a second. Apparently I have an alarm at 5 o'clock on my computer. So let's create our namespace. There's two ways you can, anytime you're doing things in Kubernetes, there's two ways you can do it. You can either create it from a YAML file by using apply, or you can actually use the, imperative commands. And so you could come in here and say cube cuddle create namespace and call it hello. And this would effectively do the same thing as copying this manifest and putting it in place. So, but since people are following along and we want to have that good documentation at the end, we will place the file namespace.yaml in here. And like I said, nothing's really going to change here, but we're going to run. Yeah. Last applied, it's complaining because it doesn't have the additional metadata, so it doesn't know if it's going to change or not. It's fine. If you were to re-export that, which you can totally do, you can. So if you are using comparative commands and you come through here and you're doing all these things, but you want to take it and put it inside your code later, you can do that using kubectl get the resource -o and YAML. What this will do is give you a YAML representation of that resource. Now, of course, this has way more data than we put in ours originally. It just contains all the information that is relevant. The thing that it was complaining about was actually this right here, the additional metadata at the creation time. And so that's really all it was. Well, I should have. Yeah, there we go. And so you can then take that, pipe it to your file, and put it out that way. But of course, if you want it to be cleaner, because as you get more complex in your resources, they will not be as clean. So you would want to, I forget what is. There's actually like a plugin you can use to get it cleared out. I forget what it's called. Oops. Neat. That's what it is. kubectl neat. So you can install neat and it will clean it for you. Maybe we can do that really quickly. So you let me do it inside of here. Yeah, I didn't think that. I don't have. It's a little different inside of here. I have it on my main machine. So if I was to do it outside of our alias, you can actually see it there. But you know what? If we were to do this, minikube, and then get namespace hello, -o YAML, and then pipe cube cuddle. Oops. Cube cuddle, right? And then kubectl neat. Then you could see it without all of the extra stuff, and you can compare it with what we have up here. Note that it doesn't have the all the annotations that are not necessary, and just kind of minimal of what you need. So if you are using those imperative commands to create those YAML files, manifests, you can totally get them out in a clean fashion without all the extra stuff. Basically, is all I was trying to say. Matter of fact, that's how I created a good portion of these in here. Just because, you know, instead of going to the Kubernetes website, copying the contents of the manifest and then editing it and then pulling it in and all that stuff. So anyways, we have our namespace, obviously. All right, so the next thing we'll do is actually create our deployment. You could also do this as a comparative command, but we're not going to. So let's see here. I don't know why I'm tabbing. Did I really just do them? I totally did. Muscle memory is rough. Okay. Now I just want to go over a few things in here. I don't know if I do inside of here. No, I don't. I do the security context, and then the set resources while we're doing that, and the readiness probe and stuff like that. Okay, so let's go through this a little bit. So we are doing our pod level security context. Again, we went over this a little bit in our last episode, where, you know, we really don't want to run as root inside of our containers. It's just bad practice in general, and you want to limit the ability to only what is necessary for the app to run. And so that's essentially what we're doing here. And so this will do it at our pod level. And it will happen on every single pod that's spun up. So we don't have to worry about it anymore going forward. And then we have additional container level hardening. I go over this. There's a whole security section that I'll do at the very end. And we'll kind of cover that. Now, some of these things we don't necessarily need, but this normally is not never. This is usually always. However, because of the fact that we are doing it locally, we don't want it trying to pull it from Docker Hub or anything like that, and getting itself in a situation where it's just doing the back off, trying to pull something that is not there. So we just tell it never to pull, because there's no reason for it to pull because it's not there. And we'll just do it with the version numbers. Note that I just changed this to 1.1, and that's only because in my instance, it is 1.1 because I made that additional change. Because again, we're good stewards of the versioning. And it makes our lives a little easier, especially in the local environments where we don't have like a rolling tag. In production, you probably have either a rolling tag or something like that. But in this instance, having a static version number is really nice, because then you can set the instance, update them, roll it out, all that good stuff a little bit easier. Okay, what else we got? The resources, these are required for HPA. We'll cover that a little bit later. And then our readiness probe is here with our delay. We set these up last time, if you recall, when you launch the app, and you have the different endpoints for the health check and the live check. And that's really all there is to that. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and get that going. Cube, cuddle, apply -f, and then arcades, manifest, deployment. Cool. So everything should be going now. I know it's a lot of smoke and mirrors at the point, but let's make sure we should have 2 pods going now. Hello. We do. We have this one, and they're not ready. Why would stuff work perfectly from well-tried documentation during a line show. There it is. Okay. All right. I got scared for a minute there. I was about to get upset. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Um, if it does not start as expected, you could get the you come in here and you describe on the pods, and you could actually look and see why it wasn't running, and then you could triage from there and kind of go and do all the good stuff. Luckily, we don't have to do that, so I was like, come on. Okay, and next we would actually create a service. And the reason we create the service, so later when we get Ingress going, it has a way to connect to the pod and get us going. And also we will put out a forward port so we can access it ourselves as well. So let's do that now. Cadence manifest service start now. V1 service, make sure our metadata matches. Obviously, make sure our namespace is here and the app selector. The app selector corresponds directly inside the deployment here. So you want to make sure we're matching labels all the way down. Our template is going, what is part of our deployment, and our container is labeled that as well, so that when we are, uh-oh. Did I do? No, I didn't do it. Okay. There's service. Then we can make sure we're targeting everything. And the only thing extra we're doing right here is that we are going to forward a port from port 8080 over to 80. Okay. All right, and that should work. You cut all get services. The dash in is just the namespace that we're in because I don't want to see everything else that's going on. So that's really all that's going on there. We don't have our external IP, obviously. We do have the internal. And we're going on port 80 now. So happy. Got a nice little cluster IP. And so our next thing we're going to do, just for testing purposes, we're actually going to forward a port so we can see what we got going on. Uh-oh. I think it's because of our namespace. It's not our default namespace. Aha. That's like what it was. And so if we were to navigate to our 8080 now. All right. Now we're inside of our container. We're running in our, and this is just the default variables that we have because we haven't set up any config variables. But if you notice here, the host, the pod name, we should have two different pods. It should be balancing us between the two different pods. Is it going to, oh, what is it? Oh, no, it's not because we are directly doing a port there, so I do apologize. No, it should have, I could have sworn it would have done this by now. Because we're not, yeah, we're connected to the service. We have two pods. I would have expected, maybe not. Trying to remember. Maybe not. Okay, well, either way. Are we good there? I make another note about updating the images. This has obviously got me the first few times doing this because I was like, why is this not working? Because I'd make a change to the app container, and then it would not update inside of Minikube, and that obviously causes issues. And so I didn't like that, and so that's part of the reason why I mentioned it more than once here. But yeah, there's that. And so now, of course, like I said, we have our app container running inside of Kubernetes. Not very impressive right now, but it's definitely in there. It's definitely running. So now we have that deployment, we have that service going. And so now the next thing we would actually move on to our getting our Fig set up and getting that going next.